And we are live. Welcome back to On the King's Dime. I say we, it's just me tonight. And I just realized that there's a typo in the stream will be starting shortly page. That's pretty fun. But welcome back to On the King's Dime. Tonight, just a solo one. Andy's out there. It's his anniversary tonight. So he's out there doing a dinner with the missus. So shout out to him out there. Come on and say g'day if you can sneak the phone away from the missus for the night. But here to talk about the Adelaide game and also the New Zealand game. Oh, that was a rough game, so we'll talk about that. Do a quick chat about some of the other stuff that's happening. 12 in a row was huge. There's a lot going on in terms of how the table's shaping up. We've got the table up. And then we might have a look at some highlights. Just a quick go through the highlights of the Adelaide game. I did watch that game live, but I want to have a look at some of those highlights again, just see some of the things that happened, talk about those. But as always, we're live on Facebook right now. You can watch on Facebook Live. You can also like and share if you feel that you want to like and share. And then we always put these up on YouTube the next day in replay. So if you want to watch us in replay on YouTube, then you can do that as well, and in audio format on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, and Spotify, and the Anchor platform, wherever else that Anchor platform goes out to. It's great to have that. It's a free platform for podcasters to get your podcast out there. It's really, really handy to have to put that out there. It's been a real success for us this season, or kind of going back to the dark days of using Podbean and then surprisingly just getting barred from uploading for some bizarre reason. But Anchor, the Anchor thing happened, and it's been great ever since. So that's good. Yeah, shout out, give us a subscribe, rating, review, anything else you can get us to, any more Kings eyes and ears, that'd be great, because it's great to be doing this. It's great to have everyone along. Shout out in the comments if you want to say g'day and tell us what you think of these Kings. I wasn't going to do this pod tonight. I was thinking, like Andy's not here. But then I thought I kind of want to get back into doing some more streaming. I haven't been able to do any video content this season, basically because of Twitch. They took it off Twitch. So a lot of the access to videos has been a bit of a struggle to get to. Even though technically, should we be using these videos? Probably not. Unless they're for demonstration and educational type purposes. Should we have access to this kind of content? Maybe, maybe not. But it was great last year doing some of that content. Having the time to do it as well was pretty handy, and it was a rough season, and we had there was a lot going on last season. We had to really really kind of squeeze out some positivity down the end of that season. My chest just decided to squeak a lot, but I think just to keep my decks going, and I want to try and get back into doing some more streaming content, doing a little bit more now that we have had such a good season. We're getting into the playoffs. It might be good to get back into doing that. So I brought it back out, I updated some of the artwork, got the desktop happening. Nice shot of the table there. Looks good. 17 wins, which is great. We played 24 games, so one less than Melbourne United this season. 17-7 is a great position to be in since we started the season, struggling. I think we were 4 or 5 maybe, or 3 or 5. To start the season. I'll check that. I'll get that out there. How about I check that right now on Real GM NBL? But yeah, it's been a great sort of middle and end to the season. Hopefully that can go on. That run can go on. But having 7 losses now with the Jack Jumpers on 11, I think we only have 4 games to go. I had the fixtures up here somewhere. We have 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 to go. So I think we're pretty much cemented in the final of playoffs now. It's finals. That's the finals. But yeah, we're cemented pretty much in the playoffs with the Jack Jumpers not actually able to make enough of a run, I think, to get that 4th spot from us. If we were to fall that low, losing our last 4 games in a row, obviously we'd be on 11 losses. We essentially have one year to cement our place, and then really we kind of want to get another couple of wins and possibly even duke it out and get home court for the finals if we were to make it. Obviously in the semi, you'd want that home court against one of the Perth or Illawarra. And then if we were to make it into the finals, it'd be great to have that first game like we did under Will Weaver. That was a great season, and hopefully we can see a bit of a repeat of that. I'm just going in just to check the fixture list to start. What am I looking at here? We're looking depth chart, stats. No, we want schedule. And looking NBL. So we started, what were we? We were 3-2, and then we lost 4 in a row, and some bad ones too against New Zealand. Brisbane, that was a tough loss as well. We are on the right season. So what were we? We were 3 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Was that 3 of 9? That's not right, is it? Wow, we started the season 3 of 9, and then obviously getting those 2 wins and then 12 in a row, basically, to get us all the way through there. For the boys to kind of come back, the lads to make a huge comeback like that, absolutely crazy. Really, turning the season around was huge, and a full credit to the team in general, because we are still sort of remember Andy and I sort of talking about it and just being like, I don't see where this team is gonna make this comeback. Like, it's a really kind of rough around the edges team, but with Cooks coming back and then getting back into form, we've seen Jalen Adams coming back from injury. Was it Jalen Adams or Cooks? I think it was Jalen Adams coming back from injury. Just huge, like absolutely huge. He's caught fire. He's been fantastic all season, and to have our team basically go 12 in a row to get us to 17-7 is massive. 3 of 9, 3 wins out of 9. So we were 3 and 6 to start the season. Like, that was huge. And then I was looking at the Facebook page, the Kings Facebook page, and Fleur McIntyre had done a takeover on it, and she was asking questions, talking about this team in general. It was great to kind of see a little bit of an insight inside of the Kings franchise. It's not just Chase Buford as the main man who rallies the troops and the main face of it. There really is a squad of coaches and that inside behind there doing a lot of great work. It was great to see some interviews with the strength and conditioning guys talking about recovery, just in general talking about the vibe of the team and how close knit they are, how well they take to the mongrel of being a team that has high standards and making each other better every day, working hard to make each other better. It's I don't want to go back to last year and sort of say it's different, because I don't know unequivocally whether it is different or that much different. I think the attitude was there in general. I think this squad's always had a high kind of attitude and ability to work hard. It's just now they're kind of getting those rewards, and those rewards are cascading into more and more wins and more fanfare, finals appearance, etc., like that. And it was great to kind of see and acknowledge, Fleur's contribution, Kevin Lish, some of those guys in the background getting their props, which was great. Ironically, I've forgotten their names already, so that's great. But shout out to all of those guys working in the front office of the Kings, in the coaching staff. Everyone pretty much has done a fantastic job to get this team to where it's at the moment. Touch wood, lightning might strike, but pretty much finals bound after last season has been a huge improvement, and it's been great to watch. There's been some great basketball, and I think a final series where we can kind of look at this and go, this is a team where you kind of expect to see at least a fight and some sort of payoff. Like, we're obviously not sitting here like setting ourselves up for a disappointment. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like those early days where we kind of limped in the playoffs or limped up to the ending and, got bounced out, or like that Will Weaver season where we kind of finished. We knew that team was on the verge of winning a title and that good. So it's great to be kind of back in that frame of mind, wanting this team to do well, watching it do well, and getting those rewards as a fan through the medium of watching this team. And it's been really rewarding for us as fans this season. So that's great as well. 12 in a row. Just looking at my notes here. Yeah, that social media, that was really interesting to see if you can get those, see if you can try and find that stuff that was on Facebook. I don't know how the stories work. I just happened upon seeing that story and watching through a few of them. So if you can somehow get into the back of those stories and like have a look and see some of the questions answered and some of the things people were talking about, was really fascinating. A little insight into the team. But I'll talk about these couple of games. Adelaide. I've got Cameron Curtis saying, yeah, both wins were pretty ugly. I heard some people saying, that this Adelaide game was an ugly win. I thought we played quite well in that game, and I don't like to say the team kind of, let's play at 70%, just make sure, okay, we're gonna, we should win this game. We'll play at a high standard. But I felt like when the Kings get a rhythm and they play with that kind of, that pace and that rhythm, they're a hard team to beat anyway. And that game wasn't necessarily ugly. I just felt like the Kings were trying to get back into that rhythm the entire game. And once they did, they kind of pulled away towards the end. And, Adelaide, can hit some shots. There's a few decent players in that team. But I thought some of the early work that the coaching and the way we play has done for this team kind of got us through in that game. Like, we sped the game up. We kept continuing to play, with that bully style against Adelaide. And, Andy, I've got it in my notes here. Andy called it. Xavier Cooks, was great down the stretch of that game. It was great to see him get like another game where he passes another milestone in being one of the best bigs, or one of the top bigs in the NBL. And I think he's just had a phenomenal season. Cameron Curtis also asked, do you think we're struggling in parts without Clark leading the second unit? That's a good question, because he wasn't in that New Zealand game. I think we've seen enough of Clark now where how good he is, right? And if he comes in, you're going to get 20 good to great minutes out of him. But at the same time, it kind of squashes a couple of these other players, and for good or bad. Like, I think it was good to see Bales get a run out, and his energy, like, he doesn't necessarily have that middle of the road, solid, really good professional level. You can tell he's kind of quite raw and quite at that development type level. He is pretty good, I think, for where he's at. But I like that he just got out there, showed the promise. He got in, got a nice inside bucket, worked hard to get that in that New Zealand game. And I think that's important too. Like, having Cooks there to, shoot the ball, play defense, keep that rotation pretty steady is good. But I think also having that exposure. I think Galloway played a fair few minutes in that game also. I won't get ahead of myself, but I'll talk a little bit about that. But I think, even if Clark's out, we've got such depth that some of these younger guys or some of these other guys can get into this team and still get a chance. We're not looking at that scenario last year. Like, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. I'm not looking at that scenario where last year we would get into this mold of like, we need something absolutely desperately off the bench here. Who's going to give it to us? And that, you could tell that was just leeching the energy out of this team. Like, people that come off the bench and just have to give almost perfect performances, some of the best performances they'd given, like no mistakes, no struggling to fit into the flow and rhythm of the offense. No room for error, basically. Whereas in this team, like, I feel like, guys can come off the bench, be comfortable. They know their role. They know where they got to go. They know they can fit this team. It's just such a nice all-round bench, a nice feeling to have. The guys come off the bench with a purpose. It's not just, we need a score here, boys. Like, we need someone to set somebody up. We're going to go roll to Maker here. And Maker has been great as well. And I think having that is just, it's so much more comfortable and in the rhythm, and it helps the offense in general. And I think it's important. As important, I think Clark is for his scoring in general. I think it was nice to have some of those guys come off the bench. Is my mind failing? Did Clark play in that Adelaide game? No, he didn't. But yeah, some of the younger guys, Bales got 12 minutes, which was good. And then he got 8 minutes against New Zealand. I kind of do hope that he's back, though. And then, having said all that, I do hope Clark comes back for the finals at the very latest. But I think it's an issue if he's not there, I think his scoring is definitely needed, but it's also nice to have a little breathing room for some of these other guys to get a little bit more minutes. Glover as well is another one I should touch on and say he played quite well in both those games. But I'm going to quickly just get DCMA'd off of Facebook and probably YouTube. I'm just going to watch some of these highlights. So watch along with me if you get that. Just doing something a little bit different. I'm probably getting nuked off of YouTube, but whatever. Let's have a look at this. Like Maker shooting threes, man. How good is that? How good is he? He's been playing, and it's not just roll guy. It's not just chucking into the post. I don't know what Cooks was pointing at there. Maybe it was his guy shooting that. Oh, why am I so far into this game? What the hell is going on there? Let's go to the start. Let's just go to the second quarter. Why not? But here's Bales again with that speed. Glover in the corner. Pretty solid. It's good to see him hitting shots. Sorry, I'll stop moving the mouse for anyone watching at home. Cooks again going in. And yeah, pretty much Andy called it. Like Xavier Cooks just absolutely munched them in the last game. And again here, they just kind of don't have an answer. Kai Soto, he's quite slight. He's a good big man. I think he's got great skills, and I think he'll kind of have a pretty good career. But at the same time, doesn't have the beef. And I think this team knows how to get entries. I think I remember this pass. That was an insane pass from McCarron. How about the season that he's had with this Adelaide team? Like what a, takes the big money move, and then the disappointing season. Like what a disappointment for him. But back on, our bigs, I feel like all of those guys now have got a much better idea of how to get the bigs rolling. It's Maker, it's Jarrell, Cooks especially. How many times do you get these like little dump offs on the foul line? Look at that. Like that's in traffic on mismatches. So it's great to see Cooks, and he's finishing those too. Like there was a couple of seasons ago where it was kind of, struggling with his hands. That's that Maker three. Great to see him shooting threes and shooting the ball well. If he can develop any kind of like step back game in the post, Jarrell Martin style game, that's going to be unstoppable, man, because he's already a massive dude. That was a pretty light third quarter there. Yeah, Tommy V played defense, so that's obviously foul. Definitely. Let's have a look at this. Oh, like, a bit of a nothing call there. But Adelaide team coming back in this game. Yeah, Cook's shooting threes too, man. He's massive. If you can space the floor, you're never going to be looking at Xavier Cooks going, we need 40% from three from you. Look at that spin from Jarrell. Fantastic. And then, we pulled it away at the end. I think did I say that was Bales before? I think that might have been Jalen. They're looking a bit different. I think Bales is like definitely a smaller guard. Maybe it was, but we'll check the tape on that one. But this Adelaide team, what a rough season for them. Like really, really searching for something. I think you got to get some more out of DJ and even Mitch McCarron. In general, like that's a rough team, man, for that season. For them to have that season, like pretty terrible. What did McCarron have? 5 points. I think he had an absolute burglar against us the last game too. I think he might have had 4 or 5 points in that game. So. What a shame he's not playing for Melbourne, eh? Like, for coming into those finals. That'd be great to see him having these performances against Melbourne. But Melbourne have a few more weapons in general. Just looking through the box score, I got that popping up. I'm just going to move that over there so I can see it a little better. We've got here Cooks, 22 points, obviously 10 of 12. Just so many easy entries. Like, we've just perfected the art of getting him an easy entry, isolating that big, making sure that he's one-on-one, and then it's just like, all right, we'll go chest to chest or we'll go shoulder to chest and see what you got type of thing. And we're getting him, some of the entries are still a little bit early. Some of those kind of, foul line entries sometimes come a little bit early, but I think it's a testament to him that he's been so good this season that, he's just finishing those anyway. And he's developed that like straight up sort of floater game. Like this chair, man. What's going on with this chair? I can hear it. He's developed that straight up floater game, and that's been huge, man. Like that's another evolution, developmental leap for him to be hitting those foul line sort of floaters, little runners. It's going to be massive in those finals. this season in general. DJ 15 points, not too bad, 5 of 16. He's shooting it a little more. I had a kind of come to realization moment with DJ, sort of thinking like, just shoot it, man. Like, just shoot it. I think it was Leonard Copeland was on the feed, and he was sort of saying he's got to shoot it. He's got to shoot it. And I was like, yeah, man. Like, I think we've hit a point where now we can go peak DJ, and he can just shoot the ball as much as he wants and shoot his way kind of back into form. He's not necessarily that kind of player, I don't think. I think he's got a little bit more nuance and a little bit more kind of refined of a game to be able to score the ball, and we probably aren't doing quite enough. He's probably having to make too many shots for himself at the moment, but I think it's kind of the makeup of this team, like with the amount of bigs we have and the amount of bigger guards that we have, and the amount of kind of like dominant guard type play that we have, especially when Bruce comes back. I think that's kind of a detriment to him, but I think I said it last week, like it's great to have him. That, the scoring onus isn't on you, DJ. So just make sure you nurse your way back to full health. And I think that's been great for him. Jalen Adams, bit of an off night, 4 of 9, 2 of 5 from 3. The 3 balls just kind of gone slightly. Spoiler alert for the New Zealand game. That 3 balls disappeared a little bit. But I'll go over that. 5 turnovers, 5 assists still was massive. Wani only 2 points, 1 of 7. His offensive game is almost near to gone. But he's still staying aggressive, and that defense, like, you've got to have him out there. He's played his way onto this team by basically he'll guard 1 to 4 almost and do a great job of it. And having that has just been huge. Like having him be able to guard 1 to 4, hide DJ a little bit. Jalen Adams can play on ball quite well, and then having Cooks and Maker Martin, and then Tommy V kind of coming off the bench, only having to give hustle and not have to do as much, has been huge to get our rhythm going this season. And then Glover, 24 minutes off the bench, which is great again. 8 points, 3 of 3, 2 of 2 from 3, a couple of big threes, grabbing boards. I think that's important. He's quite a springy young man. Him a little sneaky rebounder, which is good. Dives to get those rebounds. Dives not on the floor to get rebounds, but dives to the glass to get rebounds. And then 3 assists, which was great. Kurt Maker, 9 points, 3 of 4, massive again, 2 of 2, and then 1 of 2 from 3. 2 of 2 from the line too. He doesn't get to the line enough, but I don't think it's his fault. He gets crunched so much. Like in that New Zealand game, like he was getting fouled like almost every time he was double teamed. He was getting fouled and kind of not getting to the line. I think he might have gotten to the line a little bit. We'll have a look at that in a second. Then Bale's 3 points, 1 of 4. Good to see him get 3 assists as well. His pace is going to be massive, and we just relentlessly continue to keep that pace up and keep that rhythm up. And I think, we went a little bit at the start of the season, and then as the leagues kind of evened out, we've been able to, go take our level further because, we did all that work at the start of the season with our pace and our conditioning. And that's kind of helping us, I think, at the moment. Looking more, see DJ 20 points, 5 of 11. You're always looking at him going, man, dangerous. Like he's such a dangerous scorer inside if they can get him entries, but we've got the bigs that can kind of stymie that. McHarvey King, 1 of 10, like a real struggler of a night for him. And then Sunday Detch, 2 of 11. He usually plays quite well against us in general, but only 6 points. Yeah, a bit of a struggler for him. And then I think looking at the rest of that team, like even Sunday Detch isn't necessarily one of the NBL's elite scorers or elite kind of players. I think he's just on the cusp of that in general as a defensive player and a scorer in general. And then Duffelmeyer, Dusty, did Dusty play in this game? Yeah, no minutes for Dusty Hannes. He just lit it up in that last game. Essentially, any mid-range he could get, he pretty much knocked down in that game, so he wasn't in that game. And then Kai Soto, 8 points, still kind of has to put on some kilos. I saw them, Maker and him, sort of side by side, and you realize how big both of them are, but how much bigger and broader and more powerful that Maker Maker looks. And just in general, like watching him in the last couple of games, like when he puts it together and keeps those hands pristine, and we kind of get the ball to him rolling. I don't think he has the agility and the quickness to roll like a true dangerous roll man yet. But when he gets that, man, he has some serious power, and when he grows into that power, I think he's going to have a pretty solid career in general. A team's going to take him and get some pretty good rewards out of him. I'd like to see him block a few more shots. What did he have? 1 block. But still, I don't think this team really needs to go out and block shots. Like this team, Cooks blocked some shots, but I don't think this team really needs. Like we just have to have like not like last year where it's just every game you're just like we don't have a shot blocker. Like how can we defend the rim? We're playing this weird drop coverage and this where the big doesn't go out, but we don't have a shot blocker. Like this doesn't make sense. Like I think everyone can kind of contest and keep the horizontal spacing at a minimum, which really helps this team. But yeah, not much more from the Adelaide game. Might just have a quick look at the summary. They shot 25% from three. That's a little tail of the tape. Some teams not shooting great from three against us, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's us in general, our defense, or if it's just teams not shooting the ball well, or if it's we're doing something defensively. I'm not 100% sure of that. But 34% from the field, not good enough. That's not going to get it done. Against the Kings team, shooting 47%, 58% from two, and then 31% from three. Not the greatest night from three in general from us. We've had better nights, but great stuff in general. 17 assists on 32 made field goals, another nice ratio as well. Adelaide also had a fair few assists, which is great, and we're rebounding the ball well. All right, onto this New Zealand game. This was just an awful game. I was out late last night, so I had to watch the game. It was about full time when I turned the game on, and it was just a rough watch on the train on the way home. All the way about an hour on the train home, watching it, just sitting in the carriage, just going, "Oh my goodness, this is just a horrible game." It started, I think there was 6 minutes. I think it was about the 6 minute mark where we scored our first points, and they were free throws. And I don't think we scored from the field until about 5:58 or something remaining. Which by our standards, like we've been starting games pretty quick. I'm wondering if as a team, like I'm probably reading a little bit too much into this, but as a team, we kind of went maybe, all right, let's slow down these starts a little bit. We've got 5 games in 9 days or something crazy coming up. Let's slow down the starts a little bit. Let's try and, limit the amount of energy we expend at the start, and then, try to catch these teams up, play at an extended pace, kind of rhythm through the middle of the game, and then try and keep these games, lively down the back end, which, maybe you'd want this team kind of coming out, punching the other team in the mouth, getting a blowout happening as quickly as possible, and then sort of coasting down the end of the game, which was something we've done a little bit this season. A couple of times this season we've had games like that, which has been great. But this game, yeah, rough start. I don't think Jalen hit a shot. I think he might have missed his first 4 or something crazy like that, 4 or 5 or something crazy like that. He missed a bunny layup. And then it was interesting because DJ kind of got us out of that hole, as I was sort of saying that DJ, as you rely on him to create his shot, he can do that. It's not necessarily his forte. I think he's a much better catch and shoot player if you can get him moving off the ball, rather, and hit him wide open and catch and shoot opportunity. But he was creating shots, and that kind of bailed us out of a hole, kickstarted our offense a little bit. And then getting ahead of myself, like once you see Jalen Adams get a couple, you just feel like a roll's coming because he starts to work things out. Like I think it was Cooks in the halftime show was sort of saying, yeah, they were doing this funny switching thing at the start. And I noted that as well when I was watching, just gumming up the offense. But there was a lot of really late, we were looking for those post entries and then really quick double teams that guys couldn't, especially Maker, couldn't get through, and even Jarrell kind of couldn't get through. Even Cooks had a bit of trouble. But once Jalen Adams got going, we kind of solved that. And I thought that was a really, really interesting way to kind of view this team, in that, here's a problem inside a game. We're struggling to score the ball. Jalen Adams and pretty much, maybe not everyone, but pretty much DJ and even Jalen Adams went into just shot mode. And then Jalen Adams went, you know what? No, I'm just going to start going to the hoop, really splitting this team down the middle, really spreading them, and then also making them collapse. And we kind of went away from just that really brute force down the middle post types of things that we've been doing, those entries, those isolate the big and get them one-on-one. We kind of went away from that and ran kind of these pick and rolls and this kind of slalom type thing. I thought that was like really fantastic to watch this team go, you know what? We've got an issue here. Let's on the fly solve this and watch these guys do it. Like, and Jalen Adams ended up with 19 points. It wasn't a great night by any means. You wouldn't look at that performance and go, wow, 19 points, what a great performance. 6 of 17 was one of those ones where he kind of just kept shooting it, kept moving, but then changed the way he played. Ended up with 5 assists, 4 turnovers, which is quite high for him. And then 25% from 3 is not his usual standards. But getting to the line, 5 of 6, which was great. And then DJ again, 3 of 7 from 3, had a great night. And I think he was the one really that carried that offensive load at the start. He hit a couple of huge threes and then really jump-started the offense. Jarrell didn't have the greatest night. Again, I think that switching thing, just gumming up the offense. He kind of, if you can physically move Jarrell and if you can physically kind of keep him out of the zones that he likes to be in, then I think he kind of struggles to establish a little bit. And then they were doing some pretty smart double teaming, I think, in general, which I haven't seen a game in a while where you look at it and just go, whoa, send in the doubles, like crazy. But then watching it and watching it actually work for a little bit for about 7 minutes, where you're just like, well, this is actually working. These doubles are actually working. Like, okay, fair enough, send the double. But then Jalen Adams just started dicing it up, and he went, all right, like, no more double teams, boys. What have you got? And that's where we kind of, pushed the game out of reach. A bigger scoring run, 7 there, biggest lead, 11. But just looking at this team, they just were 3 happy, like just shot so many, 9 of 37 from 3. It was crazy. Like, Abercrombie came out, he hit 1, and then Abercrombie's a pretty good 3-point shooter. Did he hit 1? No, he didn't hit 1. He was none of 5. I think he missed his first 1 or 2. And he was wide open, and Abercrombie's a guy where you go, wow, like, you don't leave him open. Like, even at this kind of age, and even I think he's had some injury issues to start this season, he's a guy where you just go, I'm not going to leave him open, man. And we left Finn Delaney open a little bit, not necessarily like just wide open on the perimeter breakdowns and stuff like that. They were running these kind of like these drives to the nail, these drives into the post, and then they're kind of like really elongated pick and roll, pick and pop type things, which we can't really solve a thing like that. Like, I think if I was the coach looking at this team and looking at the things that are going to hit us in this final series that's coming up, these kind of elongated pick and pops we're really going to struggle with, because our guards aren't necessarily lightning quick. Really attached type players, we play more of like a hedge and space type thing, where you rely on the players being in the right spot at the right time to then move defenses, then contest, keep your arms up, really stay in the range. And I think like New Zealand had this little Delaney hit a couple. Who else shot? Basson hit a couple where they did that, and I think Siva might have hit one. And then they just didn't like get the memo to go, all right, let's change it, throw it into Wetzel, because Wetzel had 8 of 10, and then we'll go back to that, and then we'll go back to Wetzel, we'll go back to that. They kind of just toss it to anyone, shoot a 3, you shoot a 3, you, anyone, Delaney shoot a 3. Delaney took some just like, you're like, okay, all right, Delaney, like, sure, like take another one of those, no worries. Like, you've seen a couple go down, but I'm happy with that. I'm happy with McDowell White shooting 1 of 5, taking 5 shots, like, go ahead. Basson 3 of 12, he's a smaller guard, so I'm wondering how the size kind of might have affected him. But for him to go 3 of 12, Delaney 4 of 10, then kind of says, why didn't you get the ball to Yanni Wetzel? He had 22 points, he bailed you out the entire night, 8 of 10, all from 2, 14 boards. Like, we kind of struggled to contain him a little bit, and some smart play, little dump offs, little hand me downs, little tight inside passing that kind of broke that defense up a bit. But they just didn't. That's kind of the story of New Zealand season, where go to some offense. No, that's not the right offense. And then Deng coming off the bench. Oh, sorry, he started and found trouble straight away, and then came out, fouled again, came out and then fouled again. And I think, did he end up fouling out? No, he ended up with 4 fouls. I think he finished the game. And then there was this set, Rob Lowe, and I'm pretty sure it was in a timeout. They said, run that A set up high and go Rob Lowe. And they came up, they ran that A set, and they just ran straight off Rob Lowe and went to the basket and scored. Might have been Jalen Adams, I think, scored, or maybe even DJ. But it's just one of those great moments we get in the timeouts where the coach runs a play and you just watch it get executed and it just works perfectly and you just go, top notch, what a play. Like it's great to see those happening again. When it happened a lot under Will Weaver. Now I'm going to do my 3-2-1. I'm just going to check my phone, see if he's snuck away and been able to send me his tips. But he's got, I'll show you here. I'll show you the MVP. I'll bring that over here. You can see here Andy's got a fair few of his to put in, but I'll show you a quick preview of where we're sitting at the moment. Cooks is currently in the lead. Jalen Adams is caught up. Gerald Martin's had a great little run as well. He's in the hunt if depending on what Andy puts into some of these games. And then DJ, I think this kind of plays out in what's happened this season. In Wani and DJ have had quite solid seasons points wise. Clark, Glover, Bales, McCurr, Tommy V. Geordie hasn't even played. Shawnee Bruce has got his 1 point, and I think I replaced somebody. Yeah, I think I might have replaced RJ Hunter with Clark. But I'll get Andy to put those in, and we'll definitely at the end of our season in our review, we'll get those figures nutted out. It's a good guess now at the moment. Cooks, could be Jalen. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting finish this season. Cooks, I think, against the 36ers, and then DJ, and then I've got to check the box score. Did I close the box score? I did close the box score. What a fool. Let's go off the top of my head. Adelaide. Jalen. Nah, Jalen didn't play well in that game. What do we got? Bales off the bench. McCurr? I think I might go McCurr. And then in that Breakers game, I think DJ with the 3, Jalen with the 2, and then I like Glover. Glover had a pretty solid. I think he deserves 1 point over the 2 weeks. Oh, Glover, that's not going to register. That'll register. Yeah, so that's a little sneaky preview of how I do those, which is good to see. Good to see. Now I will bring that back over here because I need the notes section. Tips. No, I need tips. Where am I? Tipping. I can't. I'll have to do this on here because everyone's got their tips in. I don't want to spoil it. It's coming down to the wire, man. Perfect P with the round. The huge round too, an 8 point round. Massive. Was it 8 points in the end? Was it 9 point round? So we've got I think an 8 point round in this round. I'll quickly give my tips. Andy hasn't faxed through his, so he might have to put them on the video a little bit later. I've gone Kings, Hawks and Kings. Kings tomorrow, and then Perth and 36ers. I've gone Perth. Actually, what can I do? I can bring up the fixtures here. Yeah, I've gone Perth. Then the Jack Jumpers, poor old Breakers. They'll probably burgle one away from the Jack Jumpers and end their season. Then Melbourne, Perth, the Phoenix, the Kings, and then United to finish out the round. And that is tips. And I think I could probably just about leave it there. This Hawks games, man. I had a quick chat with Andy on the weekend, and I was over text, and I was like, I'm cool with losing. Like, I think we're ready to lose one. Like, yeah, I don't want to lose one. I'm not like predicting a loss. I'm touching wood and making sure we don't lose this game. And I want to win, and I want to cement this top spot if we can. But I was kind of like, if we lose one here, I think it's all right. I think we're okay. I do wonder how the tiredness is going to take its toll. The travel is going to be massive, like absolutely massive, taking it out of us. We've had to change. We've had to go from Adelaide to Bendigo and then back to Wollongong. And I wonder how much that's going to take it out of us. And I think it's very reasonable to look at this team after how well we've played over the last few months and just go, look, if anything's going to be a scheduled loss, I think it's going to be this one, because the Hawks are going to be absolutely ready to go. in this game. I think, what did they play? Friday, I think, last week. So they're going to be absolutely raring to go. And then, actually, I can check that. How about I double check that live on the air? They did play. The Hawks played last Saturday. So they are going to be absolutely raring to go. They're going to want it too, because if they can get wins, just looking at the table, there's a real chance that they could sneak some home finals, because home final, a semi or home semi or home final. They've got a huge chance here. So I think they're going to be well up for it. But at the same time, what does that mean for our team? Like, if we come in and we lose a game here, does it like derail, send us a bit wobbly? Do we maybe, want to win this game as a statement to just say, hey, no, we're gonna keep winning. We're gonna win big games. We're gonna win small games. It doesn't matter what games we play. We're gonna win no matter what. And I think that sends a huge message as well, because that game against Adelaide that's coming on Sunday, it's a Thursday, Sunday, which is not the harshest. It's not the biggest, not the biggest turnaround, and the Kings will be in their beds for that game, which is good. But still, you would like to think we could take care of Adelaide and then the Taipans. And then, do we lose and then get revenge against the Hawks, or do we win? And then maybe on the last day of the season they get revenge. Is that another way to look at, this team taking a loss in an important part that might have an effect on the postseason? Like, that's also another way to look at that. But at the same time, like, you don't want to win, you don't want to lose both games. You'd like to win both games and just say cemented statement. Look at this team and go, like, we've beaten the Hawks. We'll play the Hawks then if they finish fourth, whatever. We'll play Perth if they third. If we finish first, we'll play Perth. We'll play any team. And I kind of feel like that anyway. Like, I'm happy to watch this team play any team. I think we've definitely cemented ourselves as one of the top teams in the league. I think there's nothing pretend about this team. I don't think there's nothing that says to me, oh, like, you just pull this thread and this whole thing could unravel like this. Like, we've seen over, like, Gazy and 40 had those parts of that team, those teams where it was like, you pull this thread and this whole thing comes down. Like, this team seems really solid all around. And of course, touch wood, we don't want to jinx this finals. We've had such a great run to dig ourselves out of that hole. We don't want to definitely jeopardize a postseason where we have, another great run. And I think if Chase Buford stays, which I'm hoping he does, because he's definitely shown he can, he's got the personality and I think the heart, the emotion, not just the coaching X and O's. I think he's got kind of the whole package to really put a foundation for this, for this team that kind of gets us playing a certain way, that quick style, a lot of pick and roll. If we've got bigs, we'll use the bigs. If we've got guards, we'll use the guards. And I think it's that malleability that we couldn't, like, it was kind of masked at the start of the season, because we were pretty stern about, don't know about this, man, you need to change. And he kind of did change. Like, he did change it. He got Adams back, made sure he was running a lot of pick and roll, ran kind of more just FIBA. It was like, you went, you can't do this in FIBA, and he's gone, oh, right, well, I can just move these parts and now it's going to fit into FIBA, rather than, like, we were kind of saying, like, does he have to tear this thing down? Like, does he have to just totally retool this entire thing to make this work? And that was where the big, what's going to happen was coming into it. But yeah, he's shown, a couple of tweaks here and there, and then the little, like, don't worry, this speed thing's going to pay off in the end. And, we're kind of running teams out of the building and off in transition, which is great as well. So yeah, another huge week, and then another big week to finish the season. So what are we looking at Sunday? So we might be back Monday next week. But I've got the setup going here now, and I can actually do live solo stuff now, which is good. It was good to get doing that. Hopefully when I put this up on YouTube, that Adelaide clip doesn't get DCMA'd or something like that. But that happens. Like, what are we? A tiny channel, fan channel. If people want to unload on us using footage of the NBL, then so be it. All right. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there. As always, we're live on Facebook right now, so give us a like on the video and the page, and share it around to anyone else who you might think would want to watch Kings content. The more King's eyeballs on this, the better. And also you can listen to this in audio. That's going to be just one huge audio monologue. I did record this, so if you want to listen to this in replay in audio format, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on the Anchor platform, which goes out to Spotify and a whole range of other different smaller ones. So if you want to try and find us, then definitely look up On the King's Dime. And then, I'll put this up on YouTube to premiere tomorrow night, around about 5 o'clock-ish, I think I do them at. And, so if you want to watch this back in replay, then get over there and do that. You can also do it on Facebook if you want to do that. And I will see you guys next time on the King's Dime.